Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to another episode of Claim Your Power podcast. Before we get started with today's episode, I just want to thank all of you guys, the beautiful listeners, for rating and subscribing to the show. It really helps your girl out, and I love to see it when you guys write reviews, when you guys tag me in your stories on Instagram, whenever you guys are on a hot girl walk, or in the car driving and listening to the podcast. It makes my day. So whenever you tag me, just know I see it and I always repost it. And I am so excited to dive into today's episode because today we are talking about a very important topic. And this is a topic that I have had to deal with my fair share in my life, and I have had to learn in my own way how to really embrace this aspect of me, and that is how to stop hiding from the world and how to stop shrinking yourself. So today we're going to be talking about 7 tangible steps that will help you take up more space in your life, that will help you own who you truly are, and how to stop dimming yourself down. So this is probably one of the most important episodes that I will ever film up to this day, because I truly believe that my life purpose is to help other women feel confident, love themselves, and take up space in the world in their own unique way. And if I'm being completely honest, this is something that I struggled with for a very long time. And if you have a tendency to be a people pleaser, or you have a tendency to overly accommodate other people, this is probably something that you struggle with too. You probably have spent a lot of your life dimming yourself down, making yourself small so that other people feel more comfortable. But today, this chapter closes and a new chapter starts where you feel the most confident, where you feel the most aligned, magnetic, empowered, and in tune with yourself. So let's get into it. 7 steps to help you stop shrinking yourself down and step fully into your power and take space up in the world. Step number 1 to taking up more space is you have to get yourself to a place where you are willing to release the shame, because this is something that you have to get into your head. You must get this into your head, and that is that your presence is not a burden. It is a blessing. And there's this common misconception, I don't even know where it came from, but so many women experience this, that we feel like if we take up space, if we are our best versions of ourselves, if we are open and confident, that means that we are doing it at the expense of others, or that means that we are arrogant or obnoxious and all of that sorts. And I'm here to burst that bubble and tell you that it is the complete opposite. When you step into your power, when you take up space, you inspire other people around you to do the same. Feelings of guilt and shame about who you are restrictive, and they're going to hold you back and prevent you from fully expressing yourself and who you're truly meant to be. So something that you have to get into your head starting today is that you are deserving of attention, and you are deserving of being seen and taking up space. Having attention on you and being seen is not a bad thing. I know you were taught otherwise. I know you were taught that if you dressed a certain way, or you were confident, or you stated your opinion, that means that you're seeking for attention, or that you're arrogant, or that you're obnoxious, and all of that sorts, but none of that is true, okay? Like, I'm here to tell you, it is the complete opposite. And the more that you're willing to take up space also, the more that you become receptive to positive blessings that can pour into your life. You have so much to contribute to the world. Your energy is needed in the world, and you have to start walking around into every single space, every single room, owning that. Tip number 2 to starting to take up more space in your life is to put yourself on the other side of your comfort zone. It's to put yourself in environments and spaces and rooms where you don't know anyone, where you're by yourself, and you're kind of forced to go out there and introduce yourself and meet people and talk about yourself. So this is an amazing tool that will really help you step into your power and stop shrinking yourself. Because when you are in spaces where you're comfortable, where you're around people that know you, where you don't really have to get out of your comfort zone or introduce yourself or say your opinion, all of that, it's easy, and it's easy to be in that place. But when you put yourself in new environments where you don't really know anyone, this pushes you to take up space and stop shrinking yourself because you can no longer hide. You have to introduce yourself. You have to talk to people. So I really recommend, if you want to be able to take up more space in your life, is to actually put yourself in environments where you're afraid to do that. All of your potential is on the other side of your fears. So go and put yourself in environments where it feels a little bit uncomfortable for you to go by yourself, but you're gonna do it anyways. So I really recommend going and putting yourself in environments where you're pushed a little bit out of your comfort zone to go ahead and introduce yourself. Go to networking events, go to seminars, go to conferences. If you're in school or university, go to a new club, go to a new program, go sit at a restaurant by yourself. The ideas are endless, but go and put yourself in spaces, in environments where you're pushed out of your comfort zone and you're supposed to meet new people because you are by yourself. Tip number 3 is you're going to have to start making peace with the fact that the more confident you are, or the more successful, or the more space up you take, the more you're going to make certain people around you uncomfortable. Now, let me reiterate that people who are truly confident, have high self-esteem, and know who they are and know what they bring to the world and know their value aren't going to be triggered by you. The people that you're going to be triggering by taking up some more space, especially if you're someone who has been dimming themselves down for a long time, who has been keeping themselves small, if you suddenly step up that level and take up more space and be more confident in your power, you're going to trigger people who don't want to see you do that. Because let me tell you, there was probably people in your life who benefited from you being small. And that chapter is over, my friend. It is time for you to step into your power, into who you are, and to become the woman that you are destined to be. Stop being so afraid of making others uncomfortable when you're truly making yourself the most uncomfortable. Because if you're out here trying to accommodate everyone's opinions, everyone's perspective, everyone's perceptions of you, but you're out here hating yourself, you're out here not loving yourself, not seeing your value, then what's it worth? It is not worth to make everyone else uncomfortable but forgetting about yourself. So make peace with the fact that the more that you kind of step into your power and step into your strength and step into your confidence, you're going to make certain people uncomfortable. Tip number 4 is to start tuning into your assertiveness. This is a very powerful tool, and I think a lot of women lack this tool because I think it makes them feel like they're more masculine if they're assertive. But I have to say that being assertive is actually more feminine energy, because feminine energy is all about receiving and nurturing yourself. So being assertive about your needs, about your wants, about your boundaries, about your values is incredibly, incredibly important. Get yourself to a place where you can confidently express your needs with respect to others, where you can confidently express your opinions in a clear way, and that you are emotionally stable from the inside. You do not need every single person in your life to agree with you or to understand you. That is not the goal. The goal is for you to understand yourself and for you to value yourself from the inside out. If you are able to develop these assertiveness skills of you know who you are, then you're kind of like a tree in the wind. So the wind can blow the leaves, but you're staying grounded and rooted into who you are. And that is incredibly important. The most powerful person in a room will always be the person who is emotionally stable. It's not going to be the person who is constantly a lazy reactor. It's the person who can respond. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. We all have moments where we react, where we get emotional. That is just part of being human. But the more that you can practice with yourself, emotional strength for the inside, knowing that your happiness is dependent on you and solely you. It is not other people's job to make you feel worthy. It is not other people's job to make you happy. It is your job to do that for yourself, and therefore you will start attracting other people into your life that will reflect that energy, because everyone in your life is you pushed out. It's called the confirmation bias in psychology. What you believe about yourself, you will look for external circumstances and external people, and your subconscious mind will look for those experiences that support that belief system about yourself. This is why self-concept work is incredibly powerful into stepping into your power and taking up more space. The more that you value yourself and realize that what you have to share with the world is worthy of being seen. This is also why a lot of people who want to start off with social media struggle a lot with gaining a community and building a community, or, anyone who's kind of just has a job or wants to do something that has a creative endeavor and requires other people to see them, the reason why a lot of people struggle with that is not because what they're doing or their creativity and the content they're doing and everything they're sharing is not good. It's because they have a deep fear of being seen and taking up space. And when you heal that fear from inside of you, the external reality starts to shift. And this actually happened to me. I had a huge fear of being seen. People didn't even know I had a podcast. I didn't even tell anyone I had a podcast for a good year. And it wasn't until I got over that fear and stepped into that power and realized that having attention on me is okay. And I'm okay with being seen, and I'm okay with being perceived a certain way because I know who I am and that's what matters. That's when things started to skyrocket for me in my world and in the people around me and the service that I was doing. So the more that you're willing to take up space, the more that things outside of you shift too. Step number 5 to stop hiding and shrinking yourself down is actually taking up physical space too. Wear that outfit that you're too scared to wear because you think it's attention seeking or you think it's too much. Wear it anyways and own the attention that comes with it. Make eye contact, have good posture. Take up physical space when you talk. Don't try and hide all the time. Take up space. Open your chest. Have good posture. And when you talk from the heart space. Talk from here, not from here. Have open body language. Be receptive, because when you have open body language, something about your energy is more comfortable for other people. And something about your energy is more approachable and more receptive. And who doesn't like being around people who are open and fun and receptive? So really own up. Take up physical space too. And whatever way that manifests for you. For me, for instance, I love fashion. I love dressing up. I love dressing elegant. But for a very long time, I didn't do that. Like when I was in high school, I wanted to dress like this, but I was too scared. I was like, people are going to think I'm weird. People are going to think I'm trying too hard. And at some point, I was like, you know what? Other people's opinions can suck a cactus, because I am my own person and I know who I am, and that's that. And I'm going to own it. I'm going to own who I am. I'm going to own my energy. I'm going to own my power. I'm going to own my opinions. And you should be doing that too. You should be doing that too in however way that feels comfortable for you, but take up that space. Do not be afraid to take up that space, my baby. Do not be afraid. Do you hear me? Step number 6 is to stop downplaying yourself. If you have certain things in your life that you're proud of, or certain accomplishments or achievements, be able to celebrate yourself. Be able to talk about those things. Stop downplaying yourself and own who you are. Own the things that you've accomplished. Own the things that you've achieved. Own the things that you've done for other people. If you accomplish something amazing in your life, own it. Talk about it. Stop downplaying yourself. Stop dimming yourself down. Take up that space. Put yourself on the pedestal for that moment and be able to own who you are and own who you've accomplished and own who you've become. It's incredibly important, and it will allow you also to incredibly value yourself and value who you are. And lastly, step number 7 is to stop the comparison cycle. This has to be one of the most important steps that we're going to talk about, and the last step, and that's why I saved it for last, because comparison is the thief of joy. When you find yourself comparing yourself to other people, comparing yourself to what other people have, to how other people look, to what other people have accomplished, I want you to take a moment, and I know it's going to be hard at first, but the more you practice it, the better that you will get. Because the thing is, you can't ever stop comparing yourself. It's human nature. But what you're going to start doing in that moment is when you notice yourself comparing yourself to other people, when you notice yourself taking out your energy, giving your energy and your power away, I want you to, in that moment, to pull it back. To give yourself a compliment in that moment, to put your hand over your heart and tell yourself you love yourself and you accept yourself for who you are, and there's no need to compare yourself with other people. And so when you feel that energy being pulled away, I want you to pull it back. Pull that energy cord back into yourself. Pour that energy back into you in that moment. And you're going to have to practice it until you get good at it. But the more that you practice it, the better that you will get at noticing when you go down that comparison cycle, and the faster you will be able to get yourself out of it. Something that you have to realize is the only competition that you have in your life is with yourself. If you continuously compete with other people, you will end up bitter. But if you continuously compete with yourself, you will end up better. You will end up as a better version of yourself. So the only competition you have is with yourself. Every single day, I'm competing with me from yesterday. I'm competing with past me. I'm not competing with Bob. I'm not competing with Tracy. I'm competing with myself. And the more that you realize that you are your own competition, the better that your life will get. So these are my 7 tips. I hope you guys love this podcast episode. As always, make sure to subscribe and rate the podcast and tag me and leave below a comment what you guys thought about this episode. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. I'm sending you my love and take up that space, baby. Take up that space.